Welcome, everyone, to our Monday night mentoring here with BornCEO Leadership Academy, BCLA. I'm Coach Fard Bell in Sacramento, California, and honored to serve and share a few things. I'm the founder of BornCEO Leadership Academy, best-selling author of the book Born to Rule, 7 Steps to Claiming Your Freedom and Living Your Purpose. And tonight, we get to talk about 2 words that will either hold you back forever or catapult you towards your wildest goals and dreams. And the 2 words that we're going to talk about tonight, when I look at my journey, I look at the people I've been blessed to mentor or coach over the years, I've looked at the environments that I've grew up in, and I look at 2 types of people. I look at those who have gone on to have massive success in life, and I see these 2 words where they just, people that just catapult, they just seem to, things are going a certain way for a while, and then they just seem to skyrocket towards their goals and dreams. And these 2 words always show up. In my own journey, there have been times where I felt stagnant, where I would look back at the last 12 months, and then the 12 months before that, and then the 12 months before that. And we all have New Year's resolutions or, declarations or things we want to do. And when I look at the years where there wasn't much change in that 12 months, in that 24 months, 36 months, in the 5-year span, these 2 words show up. These 2 words always show up. So what are these 2 words about? What are these 2 words that either determine whether we are held back forever and stay in this repeat cycle? They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And sometimes these 2 words are the biggest culprit behind continuing to do things that are not working and getting the same results month after month, year after year, quarter after quarter, even a decade. It's scary to know that it's possible to wind up in the same place year after year after year without much noticeable progress. And we weren't born that way. We weren't born to be stagnant in life. We weren't born to be in the same place year after year with no progress. We were born to be fruitful. We were born to grow. So what are these 2 words that determine whether or not we end up staying in the same place forever, repeating the same cycle, kind of like the children of Israel, wandering? Or these same 2 words that cause people to just skyrocket beyond their wildest dreams, opportunities that open up that are unimaginable, experiences that are unimaginable, doors that open up that we may have never been able to open up for ourselves. Anybody interested in these 2 words?
Yes, tell us, hurry.
So next week, I'll tell you all the 2 words. And no, I'm just kidding. Those 2 words, some of you have already guessed. Anybody want to put some guesses in the chat? Put some guesses in the chat. Those 2 words. Let's see, before I tell you the 2 words, let's see some guesses, see how close we get.
Can you say one more time, Coach? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, just what do you think the 2 words are that determine whether or not we stay stuck and stagnant in life, or we skyrocket towards our wildest goals and dreams? 2 words. 2 words.
It's working.
It's working. I like it. I see self-talk. I see determination. I see dream bigger. I love these words. Great words. I believe. Wow, love it. Procrastination. I can. Awesome. I see. Fail forward. Ooh, these are some good ones. These are some good ones, you all. Keep them coming. No fear, not afraid to fail. I love it. Hey, Ms. Thomas. No vision. Go, go. Okay. ABC 1, 2, 3. Oh, somebody's been in some of my trainings before. Born CEO. I love it. Okay. I like it. Unlimited faith. Oh, these are so good. Belief. All right. Okay. These are
How
all
about,
great
hey,
words.
I have two. What about, this is Pamela. What about understanding and inspiration?
Understanding and inspiration. These are all good. How many would agree you could change your life with any of these words? Ms. Naheed said, right now. I know that's right. Yeah, urgency can change some things. This is a good
That's
list, you all.
all. That's all. That's all.
That's all. Take these words, take this list from the chat. You can use these words to make some serious change in life with any of these words. But there are two particular words that are on my spirit and have been recently as I was praying about today and tonight. And our topic, these two words are very deep, very powerful. Ooh, I am. Yeah, those two words, yeah, those are two of the most powerful words in the world, Mr. Abney. Those two words, I am. But these two words are more concepts that I'm about to share tonight and we're going to talk about. And I'm sure once you look at your life and look at the lives of those around you, what you've seen, what you've observed, what you've experienced, you will probably agree that these two words, these two concepts can transform our lives in a new direction or literally be the lid that keeps us from ever surpassing what we've surpassed before. And before I share these two words, I promise you, I'm going to tell you, it's almost scary the percentage of people that are not aware of these two concepts. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and sometimes when I go back home, it breaks my heart because I look at some of the neighborhoods that I grew up in, and I see some of the same people in the exact same place, I hear a couple people can't hear me. They might need to log out and log back in. Mr. Dunlap. So I see some of the same people in the same place in life, and I look back and I go, that I could easily be in the exact same place in my life. I could easily be in the exact same place in my life, but someone introduced me to these two concepts that made such a huge difference, definitely by the grace of God. And here are the two words, the two concepts that either can hold us back forever or catapult us towards our wildest goals and dreams. Those two words are environment and association. Environment and associations. So, and Mr. Dunlap, there's no waiting room. So if they're not able to get in, they might need to connect their audio or disconnect and reconnect. But yes, environments and association. Let's talk about these two concepts of environments and associations. So environments, these are the places that we go. And they're made up of a certain group of people, certain type of thinking that takes place in these environments, certain values take place in these environments, certain belief systems even exist within these environments. And most of us, let me mute the line. Most of us We're born into certain environments, and we didn't have control over the environment that we were born into, good or bad or indifferent. But at some point, it's our responsibility to choose which environments are conducive for who we were meant to become. One of my favorite examples is about a seed. You can have a fruit seed, and that same fruit seed, if you place it in the right environment, it will become all that it was meant to become. It will transform. If it's an apple seed, it can transform into the apple tree that it was meant to become and bear the fruit that it was born to produce. And that is actually, that brings glory to the creator. When the creation does what it was created to do, when a creation becomes what it was created to be, it brings glory to the creator, honor to the creator. It magnifies the name. Even if we take you iPhone fans, when an iPhone does what it was created to do, Coach Deb said, don't go there. When an iPhone does what it was created to do, it brings glory to Steve Jobs and the team that created the iPhone. It's doing what it was purposed to do. It brings glory. It magnifies it. It's a part of the creator's reputation. The creator's reputation lives on when the creation does what it was meant to do, when it becomes what it was meant to become. I'm an Android fan. Same thing with an Android. Technology and invention. When a fish swims, it's being what it was meant to be, what the creator created it to be and to do. So a fish swimming brings glory to its creator. A bird flying brings glory to its creator. And when you and I become who we were meant to be, and we do what we were meant to do, we produce the fruit that we were meant to produce, our very lives brings glory to our creator. But you can take that same seed that has all the potential in the world to become that apple tree that produces more apples, that drops more seeds, that produces more apple trees, that produce more apples, that drop more seeds. That apple seed that has the potential to create an orchard, if it's never placed in the right environment, it will never become what it was meant to become. And the scariest thing for me about this topic, the most heartbreaking thing for me about this topic, is the number of people that never learn this lesson. The times in my own life when I've neglected an environment, and I just stayed in whatever environment I was placed in, or put myself in environments that I had no business in, and stagnated my own growth, my own productivity, my own fruitfulness, damaged my own self-image, my own self-worth. Has anybody seen this before? Either personally or around you, where someone is stagnated greatly because of the environment. The environment. We're going to talk about this tonight.
Is that rhetorical, or you wanted us to respond?
That was rhetorical, but I feel like you got something to share.
Oh, no, I mean, I think we've all experienced it if we really think back. Stayed at jobs longer than we should have, right? Was maybe ill-treated or not, not valued enough. And we stayed there hoping, or stayed in a relationship we had no business being in, right? So those are just two examples that came to my head right away.
How many can relate to those examples, right? Who else? What are some examples of being in the wrong environment and feeling stagnated, or the damage that it's caused? Who else? You can raise your digital hand. Or put it in the chat. So yes, environment is everything. And the second word is the word associations. I had never heard this word until I was introduced to the great late Jim Rohn. For those who know, you know. Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N as in Nancy. If you're not familiar with Jim Rohn, make sure you YouTube that name and soak up his wisdom, especially look up Challenge to Succeed, a seminar he recorded called Challenge to Succeed. And he's given it, he gave it many times, but I remember investing $40 in a CD set called The Challenge to Succeed. And it is one of the most life-changing programs that I've ever studied besides the Bible itself. Challenge to Succeed by Jim Rohn. And he introduced me to this term called associations. Associations, the people that we're around and the effect that they have on us, especially the subtle effect. He said influence is subtle, yet powerful. And then he went on to describe that the danger of influence is that it can be so subtle, you know, you don't even notice the effect that influence is having on you until you look up one day and it's either budged you slowly but surely off course, and you don't even realize how you got so far off course. And you're like, what happened? It was subtle influence. Or on the flip side, with the right associations, you look up one day and you find yourself so far from where you used to be and so close to where you were going that you go, wow, what happened over this last 12 months, these last 3 years, these last 5 years? And you look up and your life is unrecognizable. But when you really dissect it, if you could look under a magnifying glass and really see what happened, it was the subtle influences of being around the right people and in the right environments that kept nudging you, nudging you, nudging you, nudging you in the direction of your goals and dreams. So he said influence is subtle, yet powerful. I'll never forget that one of the best days of my life was the day I got to spend with the late, great Jim Rohn. God has blessed me to get around some of the most powerful people. Jim Rohn, someone at church did a sermon and the pastor mentioned Paul J. Meyer at church this past Sunday. And I went, what? He was talking about the power of giving, and a very successful person that does some amazing philanthropic work, and I think helped start the church that I go to and fund it and fund so many things. He was inspired by my mentor, the late, great Paul J. Meyer, who introduced me to the idea of reverse tithing. I'm like, what? Reverse tithing? He said, reverse tithing is when you live on 10% of your income and you're able to give 90% away. I was blessed to get a phone call one day and got an invitation to spend time with the late, great Paul J. Meyer, the billionaire, before he passed. Another great day. And when I look back on my life, these encounters, these opportunities, these doors, these associations that have made a deposit in my life for the better, I can't imagine where my life would be without the people that I've been able to meet. Well, actually, I can. I can't imagine it. Because I know what my life was like before. Before I became aware of my environments and associations, and not just aware of those environments and associations, but before I became strategic and intentional and bold enough, courageous enough, whatever you would call it, stubborn enough, determined enough, whatever you might want to call it, to take charge of my associations and environments, my life was stagnant. Every time. every time I've done that. And sometimes you can have things going well in one area of life, the right associations and environments for one area of life, but neglect the right associations and environments for another area of life. Am I the only one who's done this? Maybe I'm around someone that's helping me achieve more wealth and around the right people for that, but I'm not around the right people that are inspiring me and influencing me to have better health. Or maybe I'm around the environments and associations that help me improve my health, that nudge me on track towards my health, but I'm not around the right people that are helping me improve my financial situation. Or maybe I'm around someone that's helping me improve my financial situation, but there's no one in my environment or associations helping me improve my relationships. Or maybe the relationship part is going well. We can look at every area of life. Maybe good relationships are okay, but spiritually, that who is in my environment? What environment am I in? What influences, what associations are in my life that are helping me grow spiritually? So these two words, environments and associations, are not to be ignored. They're not to be neglected. So what do you do about this? How do you take charge of your environments and your associations? And it's much easier said than done, family. It's easier said than done because guess what? The environments that we're comfortable in, the associations, the people that we're comfortable around are comfortable. So that means it's easier to stay with the familiar sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to stay in those environments than it is to change. You know, as bad as an environment may be, or toxic, or half good. I mean, sometimes the familiar is easier than the unknown.
Mm.
And if we're not careful, the familiar can have us stuck forever, unfruitful.
Coach,
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I was just saying that I think we need to be honest with ourselves. You know what I mean? I think that's the first step. Like really take an introspective look. You know, is this really what you want? Is this moving you closer to your goals? And if it's not, then we gotta do something different.
So true. Who else? What do you take it?
But who's gonna take the time to look at the mirror and be honest with themselves? That's the hard part.
That's the question right there. Who else? What's landing on you right now?
Hi.
Name, city, state.
Nahid from Bowie, Maryland. I hear what you're saying, but the fear of stepping outside of the comfort zone, the fear of making the change, I can look in the mirror and I can see myself. I can know what I need to do. I know that I need to make a change, but because of all of the trauma that I've experienced, it's so comfortable for me to stay where I'm at, even though I'm not happy where I'm at. So it's just not that simple. And it takes a lot of mind work. It takes a lot of work, which is why I'm here.
You're in the right place. Thank you for your transparency. How many can relate to that? Is she telling the truth or what?
Telling the truth.
It's so real. There is fear. It is challenge. In fact, that's probably why Jim Rohn called it the challenge to succeed. Because it is a challenge. Miss Renee Brown, what do you have? What's on your heart?
Renee Brown, Clinton, South Carolina. You know, that word fear for me, and I agree with the ladies, both the ladies said. And when it comes to that word fear, it's a word. And I want you to really think about what I'm saying. It's a word that you really said that you're afraid of. That word fear, because when I look in that mirror, I'm like, I'm not going to let this 4-letter word fear stop me. I'm not finna let this 4-letter word. Now, remind you, I know that everything goes on, life goes on, and it's a part of us. But when you looking in that mirror and you keep saying the word fear, it's a 4-letter word. So for me, fear, the F is for forward, E, environment, A, ain't got nothing to lose, and R, keep going and be ready.
I love it. I love it.
No,
Ain't got nothing to lose.
No, you just dropped the mic. That was dope.
And the reason why I say that
And
is
what was the
because
R?
one, I constantly,
Ready.
because that's
Ready.
the word
Be ready
that
to
I
move.
hear all the time. And so for me, because I hear it all the time, it made me think about that word and study and said, but it's a 4-letter word. But and because we keep saying it, and like I said, I'm not dismissing any of the things that happen. Hey, I went through breast cancer and thyroid cancer. As far as I'm concerned, fear. Do I have the fear of dying? Nah, I done went through breast cancer and thyroid cancer twice.
Wow. Bless you.
So using whatever you have, you it's there for you to look at it. And so when we're talking about our environment, okay, you get to create it. Yes, you know you're going to walk into fear. Yeah, but you're walking into it. How are you going to know what's on the other side? You're either going to want to be where you at right now and like you looking around like, okay, do I want to stay here? See, when you saying fear, ask yourself those questions. Do you want to stay in the same spot? Because if you don't ask yourself questions, guess what? You're going to stay in the same spot. But when you're asking yourself questions, that's hope. That's faith. That's a step of moving forward. F is for forward. Eager. I mean, I'm sorry. That just that's a word for me that just.
I'm glad you shared. You blessed.
She got me fired up, and I apologize. If I could just share 2 more things. When you said that, you just had me fired up, and and I realized why I returned today. I got my message. But faith over fear, which one you going to choose, right? You can't choose both, right? And then the other thing it made me think about is the book, The 4 Agreements. So what are you, like if I say the sky is purple, purple's my favorite color. I see purple. That is an agreement that I made with myself, and I accept that. So are we going to accept this agreement of fear, right? And I work with different agents in my business, and I ask them, like, you came here how you are. I usually say you come here either broke or broken or both. So in order for you to move to the next area in this business, are you going to continue doing the same thing? You're going to have to feed to that. And I say, think about a glass of water. Let's say this was a glass of water. Don't ask me why I have peanut pickles by my desk. But, and this is fear, or this is the bad stuff. You're going to have to dilute that. You got to pour into yourself. But you can't just do it on one Monday in a month. It's something that you constantly have to do. So you just brought all of that out. I thank you, Renee. I thank you, whoever is going to speak. But I'm excited to be back.
Glad to have you back. Welcome back.
Thank
I
you.
love it. The law of displacement. If you got gook and stuff inside of a jar or a glass, you got to let that water run on it, run long enough to displace what's in that glass. Love it. Miss Nicole, name, city, state. What's on your heart?
Nicole Fitzgerald, Norwalk, Connecticut. All right. For the environment and the associations. All right. The people who influence us in our lives. I think a lot of times we worry too much about what are they going to say? How are they going to feel if I do this? How are people looking at me, instead of just taking, what we need to do for ourselves and go move forward, and not worried about what people may think or say, or if we leave our environment, we leave them behind. But you don't want to carry or pull people with you, who don't want to go, who don't want better, but a lot of time we focus too much on the people around us when we should just be focusing on us.
Mm, 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 mm. How many can relate to that?
Mhm.
Where sometimes we put what other people are going to think higher than what's best for ourselves.
Y'all speaking my language. I'm sorry. I was gonna be quiet, but I'm going to say this quick thing, y'all. A lot of times it's not so much that they are scared or whatever. They're scared because they want to attempt to do stuff, but they don't have the guts to do it. So they're going to try and hold you back because they don't have the vision, they don't have the guts, and it's like crabs in a barrel.
On the
That's
other,
so true.
okay, so on the other side of that, for myself, okay.
Name, city, state.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hank Herring, Beaufort, South Carolina. So my background being military. Prior to that, machinist, high school, a lot of different things. But one of the things that happened to me was that I was still in that time frame, being drafted, one of the last ones drafted in. So I decided to go into the Marine Corps. But on the way out, and we're talking about environment, and we're also talking about associations. My grandfather, who did not know me, he knew me well, but he didn't know what I had accomplished. And so as top machinist in the area that I was in, New Jersey, he did not know anything about that. He was a tobacco farmer. But when I got out to visit him after the military, he's saying, you don't want to get out of there because there's nothing out here, is what he was saying. So the environment plus my respect for him, but for him, I think I made 20 years in the Marine Corps based on not myself, but because I was trying to prove something for him, or I took on his belief and I made it mine. I retired with it, but it was not for what I wanted. So now I'm in the arts again. That's what I wanted. And also as an accomplished machinist. So that environment you have to be careful of. And then the 20 years in the Marine Corps, you get into a position that you're always looking for the next promotion. You're stuck in a place until you're promoted. There's nothing you can do about it if you're on the contract, because you're on a 4 to 6 year contract. You can't go anywhere if you're not promoted. And then at the end of that contract, I was either had to get out or continue, and they have this 20-year goal over you. And I always had the one that if I wasn't having fun at what I was doing, I was out. But it always seemed that re-enlistment time, I was having fun. The other part that someone else, you mentioned on that, the people around us, all those Marines around me were always saying you can get promoted, you can go to the next level. But mine was to have my own business, to get out and do what I wanted to do, to take that pack off my back. But they could not see that. I could see it, but because of my environment, I picked up their cause. So what did we do about that when you pick up someone else's cause, but you pick it up so well that you excel at it, but it's still not your cause? What do you do about that?
Woo. Oh, this is so real. Put a 1 in the chat if you can relate to this as well. You've seen this around. I saw this in college, where, in fact, even now, a lot of people went to college and they studied something that their parents wanted them to study, or somebody that they looked up to said they should do, or the career that had the best opportunity in it. And my challenge with that type of advice is that people don't realize what we were created to be and what we were created to do is far more valuable and fulfilling than what other people think we should be and what we should do. I believe that all the money you'll ever need is hiding behind your purpose and your gift. I believe each and every one of us was given a gift. We were given a seed. And when we put that seed in the right environment and we nurture that God-given seed that is within us, all the fruitfulness that we'll need, there's provision connected to it. The Creator will provide for his creation. And so I'm a huge fan of encouraging young people of all ages to not just focus on the best career, but to first focus on your gift. Figure out your gift, figure out what you were created to be, what you were created to do. That's what this whole BornCEO Leadership Academy is all about. It starts with discovering what was placed inside of us, and then choose the education that matches the gift. Choose the educational path that matches the purpose, the calling, the assignment, the passion that you were given. And then we're educating, we're drawing. True education is not just pouring in, the root word uduko, to draw out, to pull out the best that's within us. We need environments and associations. We need mentors and coaches that will help hone and nurture the very gift that was placed inside of us. And then that gives us information, that our purpose and our gift give us direction as to what environments to choose, what associations to choose, what relationships are fitting. And when we neglect who we're created to be, when we neglect our gift, when we neglect our purpose, we start making blind choices that take us down paths that have consequences that were not intended for us. So it's a great question. What do we do when we found ourselves living according to other people's plans, living according to other people's priorities and other people's fears and projections? And here's what we do. You remind yourself that you are the born CEO of your choices. And that it's never too late to start becoming who you were born to be. It's never too late. And the Creator, our God, has a way of redeeming the time. Even if you feel like, well, so much time has passed, I'm already good at this thing and I'm already so far in. I'm not saying quit that or whatever the case may be. I'm saying start nurturing that seed that's within you. Start nurturing the gift that's within you. There's a reason you're still alive. You're not done yet. So it's never too late. It's never too late. And that's why God had me put this together, to create an environment where people can become who they were born to be, to nurture those seeds, where we can come together and support each other in that journey of becoming who we were born to be and doing what we were born to do. But it's so important, this environment association. So powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Herring. Ms. Cullum, name, city, state, and what's landing on you? I feel like you're on mute.
I don't think her audio's connected.
Your Zoom is not on mute. I heard you earlier, but maybe your device that you're using has a separate mute. Or you can log back out and log back in, and I'll call on you. We can't hear you. Log out and log back in. All right, Miss Nicole.
Okay, it's funny you should mention purpose and gift. I did a Facebook post yesterday about purpose and your gifts, and I focused on Rick Warren's book, The Purpose Driven Life, right? So, and it's funny how people don't want to hear the truth. I got one like, that's it. But when you post other stuff that's just don't have anything, people taking accountability of their own life, you get so many likes and so many whatever. But when you really touch their soul, they hate to admit it. It's funny. I'm like, look, if you don't know your purpose, this is a great tool for you to use to find your purpose.
It is. That book helped me so much. The acronym in the book, Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, SHAPE, SHAPE, the 5 ways we're uniquely shaped to do what we were born to do. S stands for spiritual gifts. There's certain spiritual gifts that we've all been given because we are spiritual beings. We are. I am a spirit in a body with a soul, right? That's important to know. You know, I am a spirit. I'm not my body. I am a spirit in a body with a soul. And as a spirit, there's certain spiritual gifts that we've been given. H stands for heart. There's something that bothers you or inspires you in this world, and there's a reason for it. It's connected to your calling. That's the H, the heart. The E stands for experiences. Am I spelling shape right? S-H-A. The A stands for ability. Ability. And those are your natural abilities, what you are naturally good at, right? There's certain things that you're naturally good at that other people are not naturally good at it. You might take it for granted because you're good at it, and you don't realize that not everybody's good at that. There's a reason you're good at some of those things. There's a good reference book called Strength Finders. In fact, I was at the Global Leadership Summit this past weekend, and the one of the speakers was the author of Strength Finders 2.0, another great book. Even just looking at the different abilities to see a list and circling the ones, and then there's an assessment you can take as well. There's a reason you've been given the abilities that you've been given. And then the P stands for personality. There's a certain personality that you have, and there's a reason. My favorite assessment for that is the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Myers-Briggs, you can go to the number 16personalities.com. 16personalities.com, take a 10-minute assessment. I always encourage people, when you answer the questions, think about who you were before you learned to be different. Who are you naturally? Because based on how you answer the questions can impact the way your results turn out. And some people, if you don't go through like the paid assessment, you might not assess yourself properly and the personality. But Google those 4 letters once you get it and see, does this match who I am? And if not, take it again. But that's the P, personality. Very helpful resource. When I didn't understand my personality type, I sure wish I understood it much sooner. For those who know my story or you read my book, you know by the time I was 6 years old, I didn't want to be alive. And part of it is because I didn't understand how I was uniquely created, that I was born different. I have a personality type that makes up less than 2% of the population. Wow, that would have been helpful to know. Of course, people didn't understand me. Of course, people don't get me. People that didn't know me, people in my own family, of course they don't. No, most people never even met anybody with my personality type. And I used to beat myself up for the way God uniquely created me because I didn't understand. So it's important that you and those that you love get to understand that there's a reason we're created the way we're created. My personality is perfect for what I was born to do. Many people express appreciation for the systematic approach I take to coaching and systems and helping people to structure their businesses and strategies. Well, if I didn't have the personality that I have, I wouldn't be able to do that. So your personality is important. And then the final letter, E, is for experiences. There are certain experiences that we go through in life that help us to understand how we were uniquely shaped or helped us to become who we were born to be and what we were born to do. In fact, one of those experiences, when I look back in hindsight, I understand why God blessed me with a mother who loved music and made sure that the schools that we went to had arts programs and music programs. And in the process of being in the performing arts, I was surrounded by gifted people my entire life. And I discovered that my purpose is to help encourage people in their gift, in their calling. See, that's one of those experiences I thought was just random. I was pretty good at playing the trumpet, but I knew it wasn't my calling in life. So why was I there? Well, I was there because that experience helped me discover what I was born to do and who I was born to be. What are the experiences that you've had in your life when you connect them with the S, your spiritual gifts? And there's assessments you can take for that as well. I have references in my book that's on the screen here as well. You can go to www.BornCEO.com. But I reference some of the books that helped me discover my purpose, some of the resources. And so when you put that together, the puzzle pieces, I like to call it, of your spiritual gifts, your passion, the heart, your passion, the burden in this world. You know, I believe that when God looks at the world and he sees something that he wants to change, he places that same burden in one or more of his children. And that same burden that you have, and you look at the world, that part of the world or that group of people, and you go, man, somebody ought to do something about that, and it just won't go away. Sometimes it's because you're the one who's supposed to do something about it. So that's that H, that passion. And then A is abilities. What are your natural abilities? The P, your personality, the experiences, all of those help us to see how we were uniquely shaped to serve in our gift. I'm so grateful. I found a purpose-driven church when I was back in the DC, Maryland area. Pastor Keith Battle, Zion Church, their whole model was built on that purpose-driven model, and gave me another environment that helped me step into my purpose and helped me bring others into that environment to step into their purpose as well. So powerful. Miss Cullum, are you back? Before we go over to Miss Thomas?
Yes, I'm back.
Welcome. All right,
Yeah.
you were going to say something. Name, city, state, what's on your heart?
Yeah, Pamela Cullum, Santa Rosa, California. So what I wanted to add to everything that was so well put, I don't know how many of you remember the movie, one of the Indiana Jones movies. I think it was Temple of Doom or something. He was running through like all of these mountains and through a cave, and he got to the end and there was nothing below. And he stopped. And he stood there trying to figure out, he's looking behind him, the enemy is on him. And he's sitting there just going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Where am I going? This is the end. And then he changed his perception. He began to put that mustard seed of faith to action. And when he did that, he stepped out, and then there appeared before him a gateway, a little small link from one end of that cave where he thought there was nothing there to get him to the other side. So I'm saying that we have to remember that we, yes, are human. Yes, do we have doubt some days, but none of that matters. What matters is this. You always have to have faith. You can never forget that. That is the ultimate key to success, because whatever you believe, that's what you will receive. And so when he changed his mindset, then what appeared in front of him? But God. That's all we need to remember, but God, and let God do the rest. You take the first step, he'll take the rest.
Woo! Powerful illustration. Thank you, Miss Cullum. I love it, love it. Miss Thomas, name, city, state, and what's on your heart? You're on mute, by the way.
I know. Hello, everyone. My name is Janetta Thomas. I'm in Fresno, California. And I guess I wanted to share just how I can relate to times when I did not know my purpose. So I did not understand myself. I think that a lot of times we define ourselves based on how we think other people perceive us. And so growing up, I was told I was too sensitive. And so I didn't like that part of me for some years. And God had to really work with me and help me understand I created you like that for a reason. And so now it's like I'm working in my purpose. I feel like there's much more to what I'm doing. I feel like there's so much in store that God has for me that I haven't even tapped into. And sometimes I think when I'm able to see, it's a bit overwhelming. But my point is I didn't like life at the time. I didn't like who I was. And I had to figure out how to see myself through God's eyes. I think I allowed other people, if they had a problem with something, then I didn't like that part of me. And I think, I had to learn how to figure out who I am through God's eyes, and then how do I want the world to perceive me as opposed to perceiving myself based on the interactions with the people that I left.
Mhm.
So now it's been a long journey. I didn't get here overnight, but now I feel like I can see where God is taking me and my purpose. And just so you know, I'm a therapist, I'm a mental health therapist. So I feel like I've been blessed with certain gifts because of what God, that's my call, right? And I wouldn't be able to show empathy. I wouldn't be able to feel, I wouldn't be able to even minister to their needs if I couldn't feel what they were feeling. So now I feel like what I thought was a curse with my personality is such a blessing. Especially when the Lord used you to touch other people's lives and they're able to see things different and they're able to work on themselves to where they're in a different place, that feel good. So I guess my issue is, you know, when there's supposed to be more for you and you feel stuck, or I guess maybe it's difficult for me to step out because it's unfamiliar. Maybe there's a fear. I remember when I did my first workshop, it took me years to do it because I was afraid, what if no one show up? And my first workshop, 50 people came and I always had to excuse myself to the restroom so I could have a meltdown because I couldn't believe that 50 people came to hear my presentation. So fear will stop us. Fear will block us. You know, it's so important to not walk. I love what she was saying, that walking by faith. I love that. Because sometimes if you're the only one to show up to your event, that needs to be okay. I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that. So anyway, I just wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing. So relatable. I appreciate the transparency, and that's so real. And it reminds me that, you know, there's only two real influences in this world, and all influence is spiritual. And there's only two sources. No matter what we've been taught or what we believe, this is what I've found to be true. That it's like that old cartoon that has a little angel on one shoulder representing truth and the little devil on the other shoulder representing the lie. And our whole life experience is learning to discern between those two voices. And the last thing that the enemy wants, that little devil wants, is for you and I to discover who we were truly born to be and what we were born to do. And that's why the struggle is so strong, because influence is subtle yet powerful. And the enemy will continuously put subtle influences in our lives, plant seeds in our mind. Oh, you are worthless. Oh, yeah, you are too sensitive. Oh, yeah, you are too shy. Like, oh, you are too this, too that. You know, why are you even here? Those are all lies from the source of lies. And until we learn to seek wisdom and seek truth, and even once we know the truth, I teach my clients and mentees, stop flirting with the lies. I have to remind myself, stop flirting with the lies, because sometimes we'll know something is a lie and we still choose to flirt with it. We might even repeat it out of our very mouths, not realizing that life and death is in the power of the tongue. What we say matters. What we say has authority. Anytime royalty speaks, it's like a decree. And you and I, spiritually, are royalty. So we've got to be careful what we choose to speak into existence, what we authorize with our tongues, and speak life, speak truth. So thank you for sharing, everybody. This is so powerful. Mehdi, Name, city,
Oh my
state.
God.
What's on your heart?
Great evening, Matthew from Phoenix, Arizona. Coach, I'll be honest with you, every time I come to this call or any call you're leading, I say, you tell me what I needed. That's what my subconscious look like. Me, my conscious mind and yours is connected. I don't know. God gifted. Thank you. And please, based on my own habit of smoking and drinking, the past, everybody said, no, drink sobriety is longer than smoking, or smoking is longer than that, or quit. I was thinking about quit drinking and smoking. Then I could get, well, I'm celebrating my 20th sobriety.
20
I
years.
didn't have no problem. I didn't have no problem. I just quit drinking because I want to be a qualified dad and safe parent. That's it. And that's what I did. And I wanted to be a good partner, be good leader. And the book said, in the AA, in the book, big book said, successful people change their habit, but non-successful people, they change their goal. And I found it me. I believe, Coach, because the reason I could quit, at my own understanding, I used to smoke cigarettes since I was 18. Mm-hmm. And I quit smoking 3 years ago. And I started quit drinking in the older age. After 4 years, I quit drinking. As I'm saying, the longer you keep the habit, the tougher it's gonna be. I believe the reason I could quit smoking because I had nicotine for over 18 years in my body, 38 years. That's why. The reason I'm bringing this to your attention, because the sooner we get rid of that fear of quitting the bad habit that's gonna impact you and your life, you're gonna be a good person. And the reason it's so fearful, Coach. I was so shaky when I had 2 cigarettes in my pack. I didn't know what can I do. The reason I'm telling you is all based on your habit, and the thing can go says your desire, the definite of the purpose, and your desire backed by your faith, persistence, and imagination. I didn't care about what people think about it, but I had that picture of me as a safe parent, safe person. And I was reading and reading and reading. I said, oh my gosh, Think and Grow, you said already people being there before me. They already had that situation. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be the last one. I'm not going to be the first one. Then I get to the persistent in the Think and Grow Rita said there are ones who desire are so persistently applied that defeat it finally changed into the victory. That was me. I had a fear. The other side, the Think and Grow Rich said, again, is the persistence. The fear is the worst of enemies. Can be effective, cured by force, reputation of courage, everyone. And you mean decision to courage and courage to decision. Coach, definitely exactly what I want. Then you're going to get rid of all fears. This is my experience. Please forgive me if I say something extra. Thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. For those that didn't catch it, the book he's referencing is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what a powerful testimonial. The longer we keep that old habit, the harder it can be. But all things are possible. And I believe all things are possible through Jesus Christ. And and getting in the right environments, being in the right associations. There are natural laws and there are spiritual laws. There are natural laws of success and there are spiritual laws of success. And it's good to have both working in your corner. Some of us know the spiritual laws and neglect the natural laws. Some of us know the natural laws and neglect the spiritual laws. When you put both of those together, it's a powerful force for change and for transformation. Thank you for sharing, brother. Ms. Felicia, name, city, state, and what's on your heart? You're on mute still. There you go.
Mr. Bell, I just want to say thank you for creating a platform. And I think I hear a lot of people talking about fear, and it's very relatable. One of my takeaways from this evening is when it's exposed, and that's what I've seen happen on this platform tonight, the amount of vulnerability that I have seen just in people sharing and relating with each other, then fear really has to kind of dissipate, because when you expose it and you say, look, here it is. This is the ugly piece. This is the piece that needs fixing or broken. And if it needs fixing and broken, and if it's ugly, that's quite okay. It has now been exposed. And so to actually have a platform where you're doing that, I think makes a world of difference. And I just want to say thank you to you and everyone on this call. Something got in the way. It took me like 15 minutes just to get on the call, but I said I'm going to be there anyway because I kept having these little technical issues. But I am so grateful. I'm very, very grateful. So hats off to all of you for your sharing, because I think you come back next week having heard everything that everybody says, all the more powerful and all the more stronger. Thank you. Turn it back over to you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing as well. This is what it's all about, you all. The BornCEO family, the BornCEO movement, it's coming together to transform into who we were born to be and what we were born to do. Ms. Brown.
Everything everybody said, they used a word that started with an F. And if you look in the chat, I listed the words, but I also wrote something that I think is going to capture everything that we talked about. And with unwavering faith, the family found freedom in figuring out fun ways to fill their days, forgetting fear and focusing on fitting together like pieces of a imperfect puzzle, and creating the environment of new rooms. Now, everybody said either fear, feel, fun, focus, figure out, fate, fit, forget, and environment.
Fantastic. That's some alliteration going on right there. Thank you for sharing that. Y'all are deep. I love it. I see Miss Natasha in the chat. If you will share what you wrote in the chat too, Miss Natasha, we'll wrap up with her and Miss Cullum. You're on mute, Miss Cullum. Did you raise your hand on purpose?
Oh, I thought you said Natasha first, but I'll go.
Go ahead.
Family, I just want to encourage each and every one of you. This is the beginning of the week. And from this moment, from this second forward, I want you all to pray and ask the Holy Spirit to open your spiritual eyes and your spiritual ears even more, so that you will be able to be more obedient and to be a better listener. Because without that, success wavers and it falters. And also just remember that persistence powers passion. And everything that you learn, you need to take it everywhere you go, because whatever you learn, you'll never forget it. is like riding a bicycle. So just keep that in mind, stay encouraged, keep moving, keep the vision, don't ever give up, always remain faithful, and you'll always reach your goals.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. All right. I see Mr. Abney, and then I'm going to share some final thoughts as we wrap up. And Ms. Natasha, if you're able to raise your digital hand and share what you put in the chat, that'll be great. All right. Take it away, sir. Name, city, state, and what's on your heart.
Abney zooming in from Greensboro, North Carolina. When I think about an environment and association, I thought about it's really what you're made of, meaning what's inside of you. Because your environment, it can do two things, but what's inside you determines on what affects your environment. And I'll be brief, and I just say this: the same heat that can melt wax can also harden clay. It just all depends on what you're made of. Thank you for letting me share.
Oh, so good. I love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Miss Natasha, you able to unmute? I don't know if she is or not.
I am here.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Natasha from California. It's a pleasure for me to be with you. I shared so many things on the chat. I don't even remember.
Acronym for fear, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, fear is all about faith, everything, and rise. And I love that group. So many good energies, good vibes. And I think that this is really the place to be on the first or the second day of the week. I love all the honesty, the open mind, the vulnerability that everyone shared this afternoon. And I will be with you next Monday.
Awesome. She's got a powerful story. You talk facing everything and rising. If you ever get a chance, coming to this country from Haiti and then being a major influencer in her country and impacting lives, to come into the US, not speaking a lick of English, starting all over, and amazing story. So I look forward to some of the things God is doing in your life that's going to impact so many other people as well. So thank you for sharing, and I'm glad you're here. This is an environment of world changers. I truly believe from the time I was younger, figuring out what is my purpose, I would always get glimpses of world changers that I was supposed to help encourage along the way to just step into who they were born to be. So when you show up, I already know who you are. You can't fool me. And so I'm glad you're here. And we like to say, put your crown back on. Keep your crown on. Everybody put your crown on. Right? Because you were born to rule. You were born to make an amazing difference in this world, a huge impact in this world. Your gift that you've been given, your purpose, is God's gift to the world. And serving our gift, fulfilling our purpose, is our gift back to God. So as we wrap up on today's topic, the two concepts that can either keep us stuck forever or catapult us into our wildest goals and dreams. Jim Rohn offered a suggestion when it comes to evaluating our associations. And one of the questions that he gave us to ask is, who am I around? Where do they have me going? And is that okay? Who am I around? Where do they have me going? Towards my dreams and goals, away from my dreams and goals? And is that okay? And then to pick 3 categories. Category number 1, we call expanded associations. Who are the people we need to spend more time around? Types of people and types of people we need to spend more times around. Environments we need to spend more time around. That's expanded. That means spend more time. That means take time away from others to place around these people in these environments. One of the environments I decided to make a part of my annual routine now is that Global Leadership Summit. Look that up, Global Leadership Summit. It just passed this past weekend, but it's every year, and I didn't even know until last year. Some of the most powerful leaders and speakers from all over the world come together once a year for the Global Leadership Summit. It's an amazing environment to be in. I think 66 countries or more, 60 plus countries, they have this event in. They have different venues all over the world where people come together as a host location for the main summit. So look that up, Global Leadership Summit. In fact, send me a message if you'd like. In fact, I'll probably get some kind of a group discount together for Born CEOs for us to be able to participate either in person at a site or online. So Global Leadership Summit, that's an environment, transformational environment for vision, leadership, purpose. You know, I went searching for a good church to go to, a good environment to facilitate my spiritual growth, to get around people. And then there's small groups within the ministries and, you know, that help with that growth. What environments can you get in? And that's on the life side, but what about business? One of the biggest struggles for entrepreneurs is that we've got this concept called solopreneur. You know, self-employed, by ourselves. That's a good way to stay stuck. We weren't created to just be by ourselves forever. We were created for community, for environment. So what are the business environments that you must place yourself in to become that successful business person, that successful entrepreneur that you were meant to be? If you haven't been in this environment before, I just want to remind you that kings and queens don't work for money. We manage resources. We were built for business. We were built for wealth management, resource management, asset management. We're supposed to become so wise. We're supposed to soak up that godly wisdom and apply it to our lives so that at some point we don't have to work for money anymore. We've got money working for us. We've got resources working for us. That's what happens when we're blessed with godly wisdom. Wealth follows wisdom. The Bible says, you know, seek wisdom and in all that getting, get understanding. Right? Solomon asked for wisdom and God gave him wealth, a plan for wealth. He didn't just go, boom, here's a bunch of money. He gave him ideas and instructions and he applied it. And it produced wealth. We're given the power to produce wealth. We are the children of the King of the universe who owns everything. We're not supposed to be working for money for all of our lives. We're not supposed to be seeking the world system for employment for the rest of our lives. We're supposed to be the employers. We're supposed to be the landowners. We're supposed to be the investors, the lenders, not the borrowers. It's a part of putting that crown back on. So what environments, what business environments do we need to be in? What business mentors do we need to be around? Coaches. Who's in your field that's already mastered what you're seeking to master? How about spending more time around them? Right? So things to think about as we're expanding our associations and environments. You know, many of you are in network marketing, one of the best vehicles when it's done with integrity. For the average person to come into an environment, get the mentorship that they need and have the time to transform and develop into an entrepreneur. God used network marketing to change my life. Done with integrity. The environment of entrepreneurial mentors. I could keep my daytime job while I was transforming part-time into an entrepreneur and staying around the right associations. I found what I call the rhythm of success. Every wealthy person, successful person that I studied, there's certain things they do daily, certain things they do weekly, certain things they do monthly, and certain things they do quarterly. And once I figured out What is it that the most successful people are doing daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly? I started duplicating what they do daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. And all of a sudden, would you believe that I started getting similar results? Success leaves clues. So what weekly environments, what do you need going into your mind on a daily basis that's feeding your mind, feeding your dream, feeding your goals? Unlike the news and negative stuff and all that crap out there, social media garbage, like what is it doing to the seeds? You keep pouring toxins on a seed, it'll never become what it was meant to become. One of the best things I ever did in my life was when I decided to give up television and go for my dreams and goals. 20 hours a week, I found out I was putting in the entertainment. Know what I found out? My life is way more entertaining pursuing my goals and dreams than it was watching everybody else pursue and live theirs. I started replacing TV time with personal development, leadership development, books, audios, videos, podcasts, YouTube, right? What are we feeding our mind on a daily, weekly? What environments are there weekly that you can be in? Spiritual environments, relational environments, personal development environments, entrepreneurial environments that keep you on track on a weekly basis. There's only 52 weeks in a year. So easy for those to fly by. There's only 4 quarters, 90 days. You get one of them wrong, there's only 3 left. You stay off track for 2 quarters, there's only 2 left. So I think of the year in quarters, there's 4 quarters in the year, but even in 1 month, there's only 4 quarters in a month. The first quarter ends on the 7th. The second quarter of the month ends on the 14th. The third quarter, the 21st. The fourth quarter, the 28th. And if we're fortunate to have a few extra days, that's overtime. But as born CEOs, let's live life like professional athletes, like Olympians, where we're not taking our time for granted. This game of life that we're in, that we're being very intentional about our gift, our purpose, our passion, our time. We are athletes. Let's take care of our bodies like professional athletes because we need these bodies to carry out the work that we've been called to carry out. So let's be athletes in life and in business, championship athletes in life and in business. So the first group is called expanded associations. The second group is called limited associations and environments. I'm going to add that, and environments. These are people and environments that we either have to be around for the time being or we choose to be around for the time being, but we've got to limit our associations because they may not be taking us where we want to go. So we may not choose to cut these environments off completely or these people off completely in our lives because we love them or we have to be around them or choose to, but we have to limit that association. Maybe somebody we used to spend a week around, maybe we can only afford our dreams and goals, our purpose, our calling. Maybe we can only afford to spend a day instead of a week. Maybe instead of a week, we can only afford to spend an hour instead of a day. Maybe it's just a few minutes instead of a whole hour. But that's the list of limited associations and environments. Update your list. Update your list. What people and environments are on the limited association list? And then finally, the third category is what Jim Rohn called disassociation. These are the people, and I'm going to add environments that we just got to completely disassociate with. Too toxic, too damaging. We can't afford to spend any time around this group of people or these types of environments. And as the born CEO of your life and the born CEO of your time, born CEO means you have been placed in charge. That means you've been given 100% responsibility. Maybe you didn't choose the environments that you were brought into. but it's you who chooses to stay or to go. Maybe you didn't choose the people that you were placed around, but it is you who chooses whether to stay or to go. We are the born CEOs of our life. We're the born CEOs of our time. That means we don't get to blame anybody else from what we decide to keep on our calendar and who we decide to keep around us and how much time we choose. So let's be strategic, family, as we go out into this next week. Let's be strategic, not just this week, but think about the next 5 years of your life and where you ultimately want to end up. And in order to end up there, and maybe even more quickly than you thought possible, who are the type of people that you're deciding to spend more time around? And oftentimes it takes an investment to get, remember, the people that we want to get around are also very careful about their associations. So I found that the people that I want to get around the most, it usually costs me something. Costs me some time, it costs me money. I'm willing to serve, to volunteer, to add value in some way. Can I buy you lunch? Can I register for your seminar? Can I volunteer at your workshop? Something to get around the people that you must get around to help nurture who you were born to be and what you were born to do and the goals and dreams that you have. So who are they? Who are the people? What are the environments? What are the seminars that are coming up in the next 12 months that are worth you being there? What are the workshops? What are the audiobooks? When I wasn't in a position to afford to get around the people, I would listen to their audios, read their books, right? Watch them on YouTube. So be strategic, born CEOs, and let's make this the rest of our lives the best of our lives, because we've chosen not to neglect, but to take 100% responsibility for our associations and environments. Have a great week, everybody. Love you all. See you back next time. Bring back your success stories. Bring back some friends. We'll see you next Monday for Monday Night Mentoring. Good night.
Great call. Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a good week, everybody.
Good night, kings and queens. Good night, kings and queens.
Good night.
Great call.
Good night, born CEOs.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, family. Great call.